Is Whoop worth it? That's a question that I had, and today I'm gonna try to answer it. I think it was in May during the Giro d'Italia. There was a lot of commercials about this new device, which was actually not new, but for me it was new because that's the first time I heard of it. And it was called Whoop. It was something like a watch, but it didn't have a display or anything else. And actually in my mind that at that time was that I was using the Apple Watch, but I was constantly interacting with it. And this was kind of irritating to me. So I was looking for a solution for a device that I can use, but that I'm not going to be interacting every day with it, but also it's going to look nice. And that's when I saw the Whoop commercials. And for a very long time, I was thinking if I should buy one or if I should not buy one. And my final verdict, if you need to get it as well. Whoop has a very interesting business model. The device itself is completely for free, but it is coming with a subscription model behind it. In other words, you will not be able to use the Whoop device by its own if you don't subscribe to the Whoop app, which actually gives you all of the information that is extracting from the device itself. And this is a bit expensive, to be honest. At the time of my purchase, it was $30 a month. For 6 months, you are locked into this kind of contract that you would need to pay for those 6 months, and afterwards you can opt out. But if you decide to do that, this device is becoming absolutely useless. The good things about the Whoop are several. It's very small, it's very clean from its looks, and I love this a lot. You don't need to think that it's gonna attract attention, or it can be just perceived as a watch or as a wristband, as a normal fashion accessory. The other thing that I like about it is that it has very long battery. To me personally, it lasts up to 4 or 5 days on one charge. And the best thing is that it has a wireless charger. So you charge a small battery pack, and when it's charged, you can take it with you everywhere. And as soon as your Whoop is just going out of battery, you slide it on it, and then your Whoop is charging. You don't even need to take it out of your wrist. And that I have been doing since June. I've taken it away probably for maximum couple of hours in total for all of this time. Another thing that I love about it is that it has an app that collects all of the information and it's putting it all together. With the Apple Watch, I had a problem that my heart rate data I had to check in the health app, but then I had a third-party app that was for my sleep and a third-party app that was actually for my strain. And Whoop's app is amazing in this to show you all of this information at the exact time that you want it and interactively. When you go into the Whoop app, you have two main components that you're looking at. Your strain score, which is how much you've exerted during the day, so how much your heart was working, and the recovery score, which is based on your sleep quality, and how much you've recovered over the night and how ready are you to take on a new workout or the next day in general. But those two things come with a lot other small things that you can check for, such as your heart rate variability, resting heart rate, your skin temperature, and your blood oxygen. And the last great thing about it is that it has a diary. You can put different questions in this diary, and each morning, once your sleep is calculated, you will get this questionnaire. And if we actually ask you, for example, have you tracked your protein? And if you have, it will ask how much protein you had the day before. And for example, when was your last meal? Have you tracked something else along the day? And if you have done that, actually over time, you will be able to see, depending on if you slept in the same bed as usual, for example, or if you're flying a lot, you can understand if this is having an impact on your sleep and recovery. Which to me is quite interesting because I can also always put different parameters in this diary each day, if I'm sleeping in the same bed or not, if I'm having our cats in the room during the night or not. And then at the end of each month, I can go back and check, okay, on this particular day, those particular events happened and my recovery was this amount. And then over months and months, I can gather data and understand which habits are good for me and which are not, and I can adjust my recovery based on that. However, there are a couple of things that are quite annoying. First one, as we already mentioned, is the subscription model. $30 a month, it's quite expensive. And of course, at first you're thinking, yeah, I'm not paying for the device, but when you go over a year, for 12 months, it's $360. And then if you want to do it for 10 years, it's $3,600, which is kind of a very high amount. The second thing, and probably the biggest problem for me, is that apparently my ligaments on my wrist are passing very close to the skin. And every time when I'm typing on the computer or if I'm doing something with my wrist, the heart rate sensor is actually reacting onto those minute movements, and it's sensing as if my heart rate is going up even though I'm just staying on my desk. So for that reason, I found that while I'm working, it's almost impossible to wear the watch on my wrist, and I have to do something else. I actually have to move it up my arm and put it on the inner side of my forearm, where the skin actually is way thicker and there is no much movement here, so it's not going to detect those minute movements on my skin, and it will keep the heart rate constant. The third thing, and maybe some of you have experienced this, if you have tattoos and if you put it on top of a tattoo, it's not gonna measure. The light from the sensor cannot penetrate through the ink, and for this reason cannot detect your pulse, your heart rate. And if you have tattoos on your wrist and you're trying to wear it on those tattoos, bear in mind that this might be very, very detrimental to the data that actually the sensor is collecting. And yeah, I think that kind of sums up my experience with Whoop, why I like it and why I don't like it. Not that I don't like it. My personal opinion is that it's a great piece of kit that for my personal type of training and sport, which is cycling, it's very, very helpful. I can really see how my performance is changing, how my heart rate is changing when I'm training more or when I'm training less. Depending on what type of workouts I'm doing, I can see over time what my exertion has been, what my recovery has been, and then I can adjust, as I mentioned, by checking my diary. I can adjust my sleep or my food or anything else in my lifestyle that might be affecting my recovery. And since I'm training 15 to 20 hours a week, it's very, very important that I get this recovery exactly right. Is it good for you? This I cannot tell. It really depends on what you want to use it for. If you need something just to check your pulse every now and then or to know if you're sleeping well or not, there are other devices out there that are great for this and maybe more interactive. As I said, I didn't want anything to be interacting with my eyes all the time. But for you, an Apple Watch or a Garmin might be great. I just want to mention that this review hasn't been in any way supported or paid by Whoop, so that's my own personal experience. With the option to opt out after 6 months, I think it's a great way to check if it's working for you or if it's not working. 6 months is going to be enough time for you to see if you can improve your recovery and your training by a significant amount, or if it doesn't work then for you, you can just end your subscription and then you're left with a device that you cannot do anything with. So that was my review on the Whoop 4.0. Thank you for watching, and please give me your comments on what your experience with Whoop was and if you had any problems or what you love about it down in the comments. And if you have found this video interesting and helpful, please consider unsubscribing to my channel. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.